If I
Yeah,
want to get better at conversations, how do I do it? Give me any way you want to take that.
sure. So there's three levels to think about this on. The first is I don't know if you're familiar with this concept of triple loop learning. Are you a baker, cook? Are you a cooking
Yeah.
person?
Yeah.
So I think a recipe is a really great example of like, okay, well, just tell me what to do and give me a recipe. We all know that when we get a recipe, we don't always get the results we want from a recipe. Mm-hmm. And that's for a couple of reasons. One is we could change our altitude, right? We could just be in different conditions, right? We might not have a good pan. Our spices might be stale. We might be at the wrong altitude. And so it doesn't work the way it's supposed to work. The other is, my wife goes through a recipe step by step, and you can get lost if you do that. Mm-hmm. I read a recipe like it's, I don't know. I go to the beginning, middle, and end. I'm cooking all parts of the recipe at all times. I'm holding the whole recipe in mind. And so that means, you're chopping the onions and you saute the onions while you're chopping the peppers.
Right.
For some people, they can't juggle those multiple things. So that's the doing differently versus the thinking differently. Thinking about all parts of the recipe at the same time. And then there's being. Doing, thinking, and being is the triple loop learning. I can tell you what to do differently. I can tell you how to think differently, or I can tell you how to be differently. And if I just say to you, my coach says this all the time, I can give you all the networking tips I want, and there's mechanical things I can tell you to do, or I can tell you to just be the host. Right? And that's an internal move. And so it's important to realize that there's inner moves and there's outer moves. I want to give a shout out to at least to two mentors of mine. Dave Gray, who I had on my podcast, designed something called an empathy map. And an empathy map is about what do we see a person saying and doing, and then what do we think they are thinking and feeling? So there's above the line and below the line. And so with ourselves as designers of conversations, there's things that we can do that are above the line and things that we can do that are below the line. There are moves we can take that are doing differently, but then the thinking and being that's all below the line is much, much harder to see.